Do you feel like you're the only one that can get yourself through this? I often felt that way because when the things got tough for my family, we didn't turn to prayer. We didn't turn to a higher power and ask for guidance. We would just white knuckle our way through it. We would just put our head down, barrel through, and just hope that we got to the other side of whatever it was in one piece. And my grandmother is devout Catholic. So part of this, I think, is because my dad hated going to church when he was little, and they would go to church on vacation, and he would have to sit in the back of the station wagon after church while my grandmother did the grocery shopping. And so he vowed to himself that when he was a parent, he would never force his kids to go to church. And I think in his mind, church was spirituality. This is back in the 50s and the 60s. And so I don't think that he thought of spirituality any differently than going to church. And so unfortunately, my mom, she wasn't raised in a faith-based family either. And so it really didn't allow us to turn to something outside of ourselves for guidance, for a belief that things weren't always going to be tough. And so when I got to this place in my healing journey where I felt like there was something missing, I had been reconnected with my mind. I was working on my mindset. I was more aware of what I was feeling in my body. I was making time to do yoga. I was making time to eat healthier. I was making time to exercise. But I still felt like I was missing something. And I realized that it was the spiritual piece. And so initially I thought that meant going and getting a Bible and reading the Bible from cover to cover. And I had to go to a religious store that sells religious memorabilia and ask for help with how to pick a Bible out, because I did not know what I was doing. I was like a fish out of water. And so when I opened this Bible, it was so dense, it was so thick, the print was so small that I actually got a children's Bible to help interpret whatever it was I might not understand in the adult Bible. And so I would make time every day to read this Bible before my kids got up, or when my kids were napping, or before I would go to bed. And in this Bible, there was a list in the front for you to read it in a way that made the most sense, which was surprisingly not in order. And so as I was trying to navigate this deep text and really process what I was reading, half the time I would get 3 sentences in, I'd be like, wait, what was I reading? And I would have to go start all over again and do this many, many times before I got to the end of the passage. And I still was thinking, what did I just read? I also started listening to Joel Osteen at this time, because that also was as close as I could get to spirituality in a way that didn't feel necessarily like really preachy or talking down to me. And so it was funny, I didn't realize that at the time my girls were so small. They were maybe 3 and 6, and I would listen to Joel in the car as we were driving home from school or to school or after school activities, wherever. And one day they were like, do we have to listen to God? Can we listen to something else? And it didn't dawn on me that they were actually paying attention to what was on the radio. And I felt bad because I didn't want to feel like I was torturing them listening to this. But for me at that time, it was motivational. It gave me the realization that I could pray to something bigger than myself. It didn't have to be God. And so that was really where I was starting to reconnect with my spirituality. It was identifying, what is it that I believe in? What is that higher power that I believe in? Is it God? Is it the universe? Is it the creator? Who is it? And it doesn't have to be so structured as the Catholic faith or the Methodist faith or the Lutheran faith. It doesn't have to be that structured. And so what I realized was that I needed to put down the Bible. I needed to turn down Joel Osteen, and I needed to start reconnecting with what spirituality meant for me. And this was really important because I was also at a place where I felt like I was lacking meaning in my life. I didn't really know what my purpose was, because this whole journey started from me leaving my teaching career. I felt so lost and really was struggling with who I was as a person outside of being a mom and outside of being a wife, because my career, my teaching career that I had wanted so badly since I was just a toddler had disappeared. It was gone in the blink of an eye. And so I was really struggling to figure out who was I? If I wasn't a teacher and I wasn't a mom and I wasn't a wife, who was I? And I was so stuck on these labels attached to my identity instead of realizing that I am a human being. I am a soul in a human body having a human experience. And so I really had to get down that deep to actually fully reconnect with my spirituality and discover what spirituality really meant for me, not what it meant for someone else or for someone else to tell me it should be. And so I knew that this was important because I had gotten to this place in my journey where I realized I was a soul and that my soul chose this life. And that was a hard pill to swallow because I was like, why would my soul choose this life of childhood trauma, domestic violence, just trials and tribulations and struggle with not just child trauma in my own childhood, but generations of trauma that I had to move past? Why? Why would my soul choose this? So I almost felt like I was being punished for something. I didn't know what I was being punished for, but I almost felt like I was being punished. And I can remember having that feeling as a kid, that feeling of like, why me? Why am I the one whose parents are divorced? Why me? Why are my parents the one who are always fighting? Why me? Why aren't my parents there at school parties? Why me? When I saw other kids having what I thought were normal childhoods. So there was this awareness that like, why me? And so I would go to church with my friends because a lot of my friends did go to church. I had a friend who was Methodist. I had a friend who was Catholic. My cousin, my aunt would take my cousins to church regularly. So when I was there, I would go to church with them. I felt like a fish out of water. I didn't know any of the prayers. I didn't know what you were supposed to do, whether you're supposed to kneel or stand. I wasn't baptized, confirmed, or had a communion at that point. So I didn't go up for the wafer and the wine. I would just sit in the pew and I would watch everybody and I would just take it all in. And I felt like I was missing out on something. And I think that's why when I had the opportunity to go to church as a child, I would jump on it because I knew that there was this sense of connection. There was this sense of community. And so what I realized that I wanted that sense of connection and community from a higher power, especially when I felt like things were hard and I didn't necessarily have someone in the present that I could turn to. And so that was really where I knew I had to discover what this was for myself, because I also didn't want to feel like the universe, God, the creator, this other being, this bigger person, this bigger energy was helping everybody but me. And the other thing was I realized that I had to ask the universe for guidance. I had to ask the universe for support so that it would be available to help me, so that I could feel like I could turn to it in times of need, but also when I wasn't in times of need, just expressing gratitude for the sun shining, or like you can hear in the background, the birds chirping. And so having this sense of faith, really defining it for yourself, is going to be the most powerful thing, the most impactful thing. And I started doing this through self-discovery, really, through yoga, through Reiki, through meditation, through chakra work, through crystals, through other types of energy work like IET, which is angel healing, sound healing. It was these holistic modalities that actually allowed me to help foster my sense of spirituality. So if you're missing that spiritual piece in your healing journey because you've just started working on the mindset piece, you're getting reconnected with your body, but you know that your spirit is lacking something, give yourself permission to start exploring what this spiritual journey looks like for you. And if you're not really sure where to start, look in the comments below, because I have a spirituality handbook that will be perfect for you and helping you get started on this journey. So I hope that you found this video helpful. Be sure to check out other videos that I have as well. And more importantly, make time for yourself, because this healing journey is not a sprint, it is a marathon. And you have to give yourself time to adjust, time to acclimate, time to recenter, and really take stock of where you are and what you need next. So please be sure to take time for yourself. And thanks so much for tuning in.